What's going on, everyone? So, kind of going through and looking over all of the remaining free agents, and a lot of them are probably waiting around for Miami, right? Like, if they end up making a trade for Damian Lillard, they're probably unloading a bunch of pieces, and then you're going to see several guys probably go and sign with Miami. Miami kind of has like a roster turnover. That's a very real possibility. But the Lakers, they still have their 15th roster spot. More likely than not, they're not going to do anything with it. At least as of yet. They'll probably wait for the buyout market or maybe a potential trade, or they'll do kind of what they did last year where, hey, let's just sign Tristan Thompson just to have that extra able body going into the playoffs. What is a big need that we need? Okay, well, let's just go get this guy and kind of fill it in there. That's definitely something I could see the Lakers doing, but there are still some diamonds in the rough that are out there that could be interesting and could actually provide a bit of a need for the Lakers. Right? Like when you look at the Lakers roster, they could definitely use a more sizable, bulkier center. But another thing that they could use is a shooting guard, right? And look, they're not desperate. I've talked about this repeatedly, right? They have Austin Reeves, D'Lo, you play Torian Prince, Max Christie, Cam Reddish. You could even bring like a Team Hodge, whomever. But the Lakers really like bringing in these young guys, using these guys as like, here's your opportunity, here's your moment to shine. You find the right piece, Malik Monk, right? Lonnie Walker had some real shine, had some real moments. It's a guy that I think could come in and really make an impact. And I think that, Hamidou Diallo is a guy that could be a potential impact guy. He's not a guy that's going to jump out the pages on you, right? He's not a guy that's taken over the league or anything like that, that's going to come in and just be the best player for the Lakers or anything like that. But he is a guy that could be a legit two-way player. He's had better years. Last year, he wasn't great by any means defensively. He was actually a 116, which like league average is like a 115 in defensive rating, but he's a 111 for his career. The previous year, he was actually a 110.8, and he actually played more minutes than he did the previous year, which is pretty interesting. But he's a guy that can get after it on the defensive end. He's still extremely young at 25 years old. He's 6'5" with a 6'11" wingspan, so he's got good size, good length, a guy that can play the shooting guard, and a guy that can just be another constant provide, right? He's a guy that last year gave you 9.3 points, we'll round it up, be nice, 4 rebounds. He's 3.5 rebounds and 1 assist per game. Played 17.8 minutes for the Detroit Pistons. And he did shoot rather well from the field. He shot 59%, 59.3% to be exact, from 2-point range. And 3-point range, he was rough though. He was actually 23.8, but he took almost 0 3-point attempts. However, the year that the most attempts he's ever taken in his career was in the 2020-2021 season. It was only 2.1 attempts per game, which isn't like a huge sample size, but he did shoot it at 39%. So there is some promise there. He's more of a guy that likes to, put the ball on the deck, attack the basket, get to the rim. To me, it would just, the way I look at him, Diallo is more of like a bit of a project upside guy, right? Another young guy to add to the pool, but a guy that can make an impact and play both sides of the ball. A guy that could come in and, get after it on the defensive end, work hard, hustle hard, but can also put the ball on the deck and just get you a bucket here and there. Needs to work on his overall shooting. That's why he doesn't have a spot right now. Because again, if he could be a legit, any type of legit 3-point shooter, then he probably would have a contract. He probably would have gotten, not like super paid, but he would have, I don't think he'd be still looking and be the odd man out, right? I think he'd have a real opportunity and he'd be in a good roster. And again, maybe Miami, right? If they unload several guys, maybe Miami goes and signs him and they look at it as like, hey, we unloaded, Duncan Robinson and Kyle Lowry and, Vasquez and whoever else, Jovic and all these guys. Now we need to just kind of fill out the roster, and that could very well be what he's be waiting for. and maybe he goes there and gets 20 minutes a game, where on the Lakers he might get 10, he might get no minutes, whatever. To me, he'd just kind of be more of a farm guy. He'd be more of a guy of like, hey, let's bring him in. Let's see what he can kind of evolve into. He's still relatively young. He's got some nice promise. He's got some nice upside. He's had some, nice games, right? He's a guy that could, could provide a nice spark in moments, right? He's had games where he's gone off for 30. He had a 35-point game a couple years ago, right? I think he's had several 30-point games, if I'm not mistaken. I know he definitely had a 31-point game, or a 35-point game. But regardless, guy who has some potential, has some upside, could be a two-way player for you. Got to work on his three-point shooting, but we've seen what Phil Handy could do with guys, right? Phil Handy has been able to turn water into wine with some of these guys. And, the right approach, right opportunity, right environment, I could see him getting a little shine. Now, I've talked about guys like, Kelly Oubre, things like that, where I'm like, I would really like to see one of those guys come in and maybe makes more sense as a starting, or not starting, but a backup over like a Max Christie or something, just because Max Christie is so young. It's like your opportunity will come, your shine will be there. Just be patient, right? It's coming. And you kind of go with that more veteran-led guy, like I said, Kelly Oubre. But with Diallo, like I don't know if he's the guy I would play over Christie. Like I like Christie better than him. Again, he would be more for me a guy that would just be let's bring him in and see what he's got type thing. Like I could see them bringing him in for like maybe a training camp, right? They brought in a couple guys for training camp. Like he could be a guy that I could see, maybe getting some shine, getting some opportunity in training camp, and kind of see, maybe sign him to a non-guaranteed deal. And if nothing works, if it doesn't work out, you have that extra salary to trade, or you could just release him, right? That is something that I could definitely see happening. But he's a guy that I've seen a lot of people throw him out there. I've seen a lot of ideas of him. Like even going into the offseason, I saw people, throwing his name into the ring as a guy that the Lakers should target and go after. I mean, granted, who thought the Lakers would be looking at a roster that they have right now to start the offseason? He made a lot of sense, right? Because it's like, man, like this is like the Lakers need to fill out so much. They're not in the best position, blah blah. And then it's like, oh wait, no, like the Lakers are looking great. The Lakers are in great shape, right? Like now, so I mean, things have changed, right? But I don't know. I don't hate the idea. Don't absolutely love the idea, but I don't mind giving him an opportunity, giving him a little shine, and see what he could do, see what he provides, right? He could just be the third or fourth, or just be another guard. Like you have, you have a Reeves out, or like a Reeves and a Diallo out. It's like, all right, now you're gonna get some run, kid. But more so, just kind of have him as a development guy and just see, have him as a guy. I like the idea of him coming in a training camp and getting an opportunity to kind of just compete with guys. But as far as like getting a roster spot, not super stoked. But again, just kind of going through the free agents as we get closer to training camp, kind of see what guys could potentially end up getting training camp deals, maybe even potentially make a roster, kind of see what guys could fit a need, and just have good conversations. As always, it's what this is about. Having good conversations, hearing your thoughts and opinions, right? And so that's what I want to hear. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. So let me know how you feel down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you like the idea? Do you think like, yeah, he could be a solid piece? He could be a guy you bring in, provide some quality depth at the two guard? Do you think, no, like, again, you got Demoy Hodge, you got Max Christie, but Demoy Hodge, you got him on a two-way, keep him on the two-way for now, right? You can always bring him in if you needed to. You could always waive Diallo and bring in Hodge at some point if you want to do, if it's just not working out. But So I do get the idea, but you already have your two ways locked up, your 3 2 ways. Keep it. Like, I would rather keep that in line and not have to worry about it, right? But I don't know. Like, again, kind of indifferent, but again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. However you feel, whether you love it, hate it, somewhere in between, down in the comments.